What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Dirty Mike, and today I'm bringing you another episode of 40 and 40. And I was out of town when I was playing the majority of these matches, so we're going to discuss what that really means. If you enjoy the content, you like the series, as always, I've told you many times, this takes a long process to put together. But I enjoy doing it because you can kind of come along with my journey. If you're brand new, basically all 40 matches from the weekend, you're going to get to see them right here, right now. Yeah. And in the comments down below, I want to ask you guys a couple questions. Number one, when you back out of a match, why do you back out of a match? Give me your top 3 people that you try to avoid. Is it based on location? If you see a Spanish speaker or a Portuguese speaker, if you're in the Americas division, is it based on team name? Is it just a vibe? Are you feeling it? What's going on? Talk to me, because I've seen so much on Twitter about cherry picking, and I want your opinion down below in the comments. Let's get it underway. And I did make top 100 for monthly, and that's what you're seeing on screen. That's what's important. That's the reason I took the Xbox for New Year's and on my trip, is I refused to not make top 100 after I had such a consistent weekend and week out. We should have only had 4 weekends in December, though. I think it was a bad look from EA. Why make us play that much during the holidays? They didn't give us off for Christmas. They didn't give us off for New Year's. What's up? All right. Let's get this underway. Kevin Hart would be proud. And I want to open up talking about what's going on. Where did you go out of town? If you guys have not been following me on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, some sort of social medium outside of YouTube, maybe you weren't aware. Maybe you don't know the results from this past weekend, and I'm going to catch you up. So my first 13 matches, I was able to play from home. And then I went out of town to Nashville, Tennessee, and I played at a LAN center for a little bit, and then the last, 17 games, oh goodness, I was that guy. I've ruined everyone's experience playing FIFA. I had 200 plus ping, 1 for download, 0.5 for upload. Just terrible. Really unplayable for an online connection. That was on a direct connect. I was playing for my girl's cousin's place, and it was impossible. But at that point, it was a Sunday. I had to play the games if I wanted to make top 100, but it was miserable, and you're going to kind of see the fall off in gameplay as the video goes on in terms of, hey, Mike's not doing as much skilling. Oh, man, some of that defense looks good, or it looks shaky, or there's some slow-mo, or there's some lag. I get a little bit of everything. But I can be thankful that I did not receive any disconnects. I'd much rather take a loss or have to deal with some BS versus having a game taken away from me. So that is a positive point. But I want to tell you guys right now, do not go out of town and play FUT Champs. Do not! Because you're going to play on different monitors, different environments, and different connections. And all of them include a higher risk for you performing worse. It just is what it is. And I do want to start off talking about the squad. I truly want to start off, kind of breaking down the team a little bit, because I got to play some good matches. And I included some players that haven't been in the starting 11 in previous squad builders that I put together, or previous weekend leagues. And it makes me sad because I really enjoyed Bird Camp. And I didn't feel like this was an ideal weekend to test them out, just because so many different climates that I was trying to get my best game from, trying to get that A game, which should make sense. Oh, last little note about the connection and the monitors and TVs and all that good stuff. And I'm not looking for excuses once again. I know what I signed up for. I decided I was going to go out of town. I'm a little bit disappointed, though, because instead of finishing 77th in the monthly, I would have finished 40th. If I was having the same consistency, maybe even a little bit lower, in the high 30s, which would have been a better prize. Just slightly, I think, for the top 100 monthly. Maybe not, actually. It might be all top 100 is pretty similar. It might only change if you get top 10. I could be wrong. I'm not sure on some of those prize breakdowns. But I decided December was going to be a trial month as we're getting ready for January, which is, of course, a regional qualifying month, which means it's going to be a mess. It's going to be disgusting. But yeah, let's open this up for the squad. So up top, and I've showed you the team in this video, I hope. Something popped up. But if you want to see an entirely dedicated video to that squad, I've made it. It's on my YouTube channel. Just go back a few days. It's there. And that includes the before and the after and the tactics and all that kind of good stuff. My custom tactics haven't changed, though, for a few weeks. I've kind of just been leaving it alone and trying to get used to using this style over and over again. Sometimes FIFA is just about being comfortable. and feeling confident with whether it's the squad, the tactics, the positions, the formations, you name it. But up top, and this is after I've made my pro swap. So if you guys are listening to this and you're saying, whoa, the chemistry is going to be all bad, don't worry about that. I started in a 4-3-3 and then I switched into a 4-1-2-1-2, the second variation, the second. And up top, I've got on the left Griezmann for that magical left foot. And he seems to constantly put on for me. I am a fan of Griezmann. The only downfall, of course, size, physicality, he doesn't have that. But his positioning, his agility, and then his left foot is gold. I actually feel as if his right foot is a 2-star weak foot, though. You don't want to shoot with that right foot. It's disappointing every time that I try to do something with his right foot. It just never shows up in the clutch. When you make half chances on his opposite foot, forget about it. He drags them wide. A little bit frustrating. But overall, Griezmann is a very special player. If you were debating picking him up, maybe you have an extra 150,000, 200,000 coins. I salute it. I co-sign it. I approve it. And then next to him, of course, you've got the one and only Ronnie, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo, who it's tough to say he's not the best player in the game. I know people make arguments all the time for Hullet. They're a little bit of different style of players. One of them just dominates the midfield. Ronaldo, of course, is the striker of all striker, or he could be your best winger, your best cam, probably your best center mid if you wanted to play him there. I still think it's a debatable. If you've used both, let me know actually in the comments where you feel or who you feel is better between the two and why. But I think it might be a difficult comparison just because they do play different positions. Or you're probably going to be using them at different positions. I never see people playing Hullet as a striker. Maybe as a cam, but most of the time as a center mid, he's breaking up everything. He's just dominating the midfield. And if you win the midfield, you're going to win a lot of matches. Then in behind Ronnie and Griezmann, we went with Bergkamp. And this is a comparison that I wanted to talk about. You guys have seen me use Rui Costa a lot, and now I use Bergkamp. I upgraded. And people ask, is Bergkamp better? See, for my games played, I would say yes. And this is the difference between the two of them. Obviously, there's a price tag difference as well. You're talking about 600,000 coins versus 900,000 coins. So about a 300K and maybe some change in terms of price difference. Bergkamp's a better shot taker. Bergkamp is more physical. That's what you're going to get for him. Their passing is very similar. Rui might even be a little bit cleaner, a little more crisp with the passing. Rui feels more agile. And I know statistically, I don't think that he's supposed to be more agile, but in-game he is. So it's just a matter of weighing those types of pros and cons. But Bergkamp definitely has the juice in terms of long shooting, both feet. You can score goals with him that Rui's not capable of, but at the same time, Rui's ball control and just how he moves on the rock, how he provides, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then as a center mid, we got left center mid, Gareth Bale. Remember, left foot, left side, shooting across the body. He's been a tricky guy to find his best position this year. And in fact, I'm going to open this up for another discussion with you guys. Where does Gareth Bale perform best? Is it a right wing? Is it a left wing? Is it a striker? Is it a cam? Is it a center mid? He is a true utility player. I guess you could play him as a left back, but that just seems like a waste. He is a utility player. The man needs to be on the pitch, but where you put him, that is a debatable. And I've seen pros and other really great people use him all over the place. Sometimes as a striker, sometimes as a center mid, sometimes as a cam. And that's why I want to know your opinion. And that's why we got the comments. I always like to start some dialogue. I go back and forth. I listen to you guys. A lot of the videos I make include your thoughts, your suggestions, your feedback. Because at the end of the day, you're watching and you're supporting and you're sharing the content. That's how we make this channel grow. Someone has to notify others. Word of mouth is the best way. Hey, man, I got this guy that I enjoy watching his content. I think he's got a lot of good information. Man's got some nice FIFA game, etc., etc. Whatever. I don't know what happens when I'm not around, how people present my channel. Hopefully it's like that. But you guys get the idea. At the end of the day, when you do any sort of content creation on YouTube, the people decide where you're heading, what direction you're going. And that's why I never understand why YouTubers get so cocky. And it just doesn't make sense. I was like, you do realize that you're not creating a product. You are the product. Your content creation is the product. People can love you one day, hate you the next. And you can do some stupid stuff and blow your opportunity or blow your momentum. People need to be very careful. It's a much different job, career, or just a choice of a hobby, whatever you want to classify YouTube as. And you should definitely stay humble, kind of like with FIFA. FIFA to me has a way of humbling you at all times. Right when you think, hey, my shit don't stink, then you go on a losing streak. Then you get the bad bounces. Those 50-50s aren't going for you anymore. EA's like, nah, okay, player, you think you really playing on? No, we're not giving you anything. But I like Gareth Bale as a center mid. I've used him up top. I like that a lot. Those are probably my top 2 positions. And I go back and forth. Do I want him as a left striker? Would I prefer him as a center mid? And it's almost a debate week in and week out. Now my right center mid, Pogba. Paul Pogba is not going anywhere. He's one of those players that will be in my squad, I feel like, for the year. If you're talking about getting wins, 6'3", physical, great with the body control and the strength and being able to facilitate, just doesn't lack anything. Did I mention that he has 5-star skills? He's just a special player. Solid from set pieces as well. If you're able to use him on your long set pieces, or if you're comfortable with his run-up. Because when you're looking at direct set pieces, I feel like the run-up is just as important as the actual guy taking that set piece. If you're not comfortable with how he approaches, then it won't work for you. It's guaranteed. It just will not. I don't like using Ronaldo, for example. His statistics through the roof. No problems. I like it. But I have trouble with his run-up. Even on penalty kicks, I'm not a big fan of Ronaldo either because he has his own unique run-up. And I would prefer somebody that's maybe a little more simple, a little more basic in terms of the run-up. Something that, okay, I'm going to boom, approach, where Ronaldo almost has like a little bit of a stutter or something, and it could throw me off. And especially if you got some nerves or maybe the game's not going for you, the last thing you want to do is miss a penalty kick. You want to at least make your opponent have to save that penalty kick. And then the CDM role, Vieira, another player that I don't think is going to leave my squad, at least not on the Xbox. Very expensive. He's probably the best center defensive midfielder in FIFA. Breaks up a ton of plays. I wish that he had more of a physical presence like Pogba. I know that sounds crazy, but he doesn't have that truck stick feel. I'm talking about that, you check somebody. If you watch hockey, you check him against the boards. He doesn't have that feel. He does do a great job of being annoying. He intercepts a ton of passes, and he will make plenty of tackles for you. But he doesn't send that, oh yeah, I got the biggest Johnson in the house, that feel. He doesn't give you that, at least not in my opinion. But he is amazing at that CDM role, but he is going to cost you everything you got. That's the issue, is that he's just not cheap. So it's just a matter of what you need on your squad. And he doesn't feel as wide. When you look at the Luke Shaws, and I guess Paul Pogba as well looks a little wider. Yaya Toure even looks a little wider. Something with Vieira comes off tall and skinny, or tall and lanky, something along those lines. And then defensively, I added Rio Ferdinand, but it's a bad weekend to test Rio Ferdinand because you're going to see towards this last half of my games, bros, my brothers from other mothers, like, the connection is unplayable every single game. When you have 200 plus ping or latency, you shouldn't be on the internet. I just couldn't believe EA was giving me green bar connection. I was like, I'm going to ruin everybody's game. I have to play, but I'm screwing everyone over right now. It was unbelievable that it was a green bar connection, knowing what I knew when I was sitting there. Man, I just did a speed test. How is this possible? But it's too bad because I've played against Rio Ferdinand so much, and I know how gifted he is, but if the connection is awful, you lose a lot of sense of skill and especially agility, both offensively and defensively. A lot of people don't take this into consideration. Agility is such an important statistic, both if you're going forward and if you're defending. Your players will move side to side a lot quicker, and they change direction. Let's say you get beat, boom, you can recover, and you shift them. So agility, that's not how you say that, but agility is crucial for success in FIFA. Don't let anyone tell you different. I think a lot of people underestimate the stat and how important it really is and what it can give you on the pitch, all over the pitch. And then my fullbacks, we've seen this. We've got the Alaba situation on one end, the Kyle Walker on the other. Sandro's kind of tricky to get into a team, but a lot of people prefer Sandro over Alaba, or if you had legends, of course, go for it. Even in the center backs, if you don't want Boateng, who is legend status in my opinion, maybe not Ferdinand, you go with Blanc, Desai. I think Beckenbauer is probably going to be even more expensive, but all of them are pretty good. Like, you could cheap out at the defensive area if you wanted with legends. Alexi Lalas, I know he doesn't deserve a legend card. I'm aware of that. Yes, I know. He just works as a commentator, and he got some sort of hookup that put him in the game. He does not deserve it. On another note, Donovan, for all you guys that are from Europe, this is why Donovan deserves a legend card. He represents American football or American soccer perfectly. He was our national team guy, you know, tons of caps, tons of goals, leading in all sorts of different categories. He chose to play in the MLS. I mean, he did go to Everton for a quick loan. He went to Bayern for a quick loan. I think he played at Bayer Leverkusen. But basically, he chose to be in the U.S. But he's a great ambassador in terms of an American football player, or like I said, soccer player, with a long career of being successful and being consistent, et cetera, et cetera. He deserves it. But Alexi Lalas, you don't deserve it. You're in the game, though, and I'm saying that he's good. Sol Campbell's good. If you want to keep it cheap with your legends, still not going to be cheap overall, but just cheaper with the legends. There you go. Shall we continue? We now talked about the squad a little bit, and it is too bad. It is too bad. I'm so sad that I wasn't able to get the full test out of a couple of my new players, just connection-based. It is what it is. Doesn't matter how good or how bad you are as a player. If the connection is god-awful, it becomes a little more of a luck game, hoping for that bounce. Please, let it happen. In the last 20 matches, I can't even do pace control, bruh. And pace control is the face-up dribble. I couldn't even do that. And that takes away a lot from my game. I'm an intricate player. When bad connection happens for me, and this is not an excuse, once again, I'm just talking. We're just having a conversation. Remember, this is a back and forth type of video. I'm opening up to you guys. We're talking about the gameplay. I'm showcasing the gameplay, kind of all of the above. But I don't play well with any delay, and I can play through lag, but when it's slow, it ain't good. And if it's really nasty with lag, of course, it's not good. But let's talk about some of the stat lines for people, or is it too early in the video? It might be foreshadowing a little too much. Nah, it's not. I'm not going to show you guys how many goals for or goals against yet. But in terms of stats, all right? Stats. I'm pulling them up right now. You guys know I'm about that stat room stuff in life. Ronaldo did what Ronaldo does. And I've always said this, and I want to repeat it. If you buy Ronaldo and he doesn't lead your team in goals or assists or both, he might not be for you. Or you need to practice with your Ronaldo, because with the coins that you invest, you have an expectation. And he should live up to it. Ronaldo's that guy. 30 goals. To go with 19 assists. Now, most of the time, if I get 20 and 20, I think that's outstanding. That means you produced a goal or an assist every single match. But with Ronaldo, it's almost as if, can I get a 30 and 30 every week in league? Because I know I'm going to get 30 goals. It just feels like he's always going to get 30 goals. This was a bad weekend for me. He still finished with 30 goals. And I think last weekend he might have 35, and the week before that, something along those lines. He's in that area. And this is in close games. This is where I judge players, how I judge players. Can this player, or does this player, perform in the matches I need him to? I don't care how well you play in a 5-0 win. If I was going to win the game regardless, I don't care. I need you to show up when I'm playing against a top 100 opponent. And we're going to talk about top 100 today. I need you to show up in the matches where, God, nothing's working for me. I just need a Ronaldo moment. Please give me a lucky bounce, or let me have a good moment of shielding, or some sort of rebound, your positioning, or maybe a skill move session, something great, a long shot. Do you do that? Are you worth it? It's all decided at that moment to me. Can I squeak out 1-0 victories with you? Or are you only going to be a great player when I'm kicking everybody's tail, man? If I'm coasting and boasting and roasting, I don't have another rhyme that goes with it. But if I'm on a roll and I'm winning easily, it doesn't really matter if your guys are putting up big numbers then. And that's why Ronaldo's so special to me as a player this year. He gives you Ronaldo-esque performances every game. Then I have Bergkamp with 24 goals to go with 17 assists. I like that. Griezmann hit that 20 and 20 pretty much. Yep, 20 goals, 21 assists. Thumbs up to that. I mean, my big three, they were definitely live. They were active. I think Bergkamp would have had incredible stats. I mean, I started in my first 13 games. I think I had 12 goals, 14 assists. So that kind of tells you how he fell off. And it wasn't his fault. Like I said, just the connection was dicey. You're going to see rebound goals and some of the goal quality just start to drop as the games get nastier. And that makes sense. It's to be expected. All right? Everybody else was kind of standard. Pogba seems to hover around this like 10 and 10 zone. He had 11 goals, 9 assists. He plays as a center mid, though. He's breaking up plays. You never know who else is going to show up. Bale almost underachieved for what I'm used to. 3 goals, 10 assists. 3 goals is very low for Gareth Bale. I'm not here to make excuses for him. Even as a center mid, I mean, of course, he has the ability to go forward. And what I do like about having him as a left center mid is if you play against someone who's in park the bus, if you play against somebody who's in a custom formation, something where you're going to need long shots, Gareth Bale can do that for you. He's not lacking in long shots. He puts them on frame. He has that Trivela trait where you kind of can, just like that. Keepers don't react well to that, man. And you need those magical moments. I'm telling you. Let's get back to the business here. I want to talk about the top 100 discussed, because obviously I finished in the top 100. And I don't necessarily cherry pick, and we're going to discuss cherry picking and what games I avoid, what games I go into, and why I avoid this type of game, and why I go into this type of match. And I'm just going to open this up for discussion. I want to know what you guys think, of course. That's why I asked at the beginning of the video, why do you go in a match? Why do you back out of a match? Are you looking for something? Are you not looking for something? Is it random? Do you play anybody and everybody? Well, we're going to have a good little back and forth, because I think everybody has some sort of protocol they follow in terms of, this is the type of opponent I want, this is the type of opponent I don't want. But just hold that for one moment. Hold that. We're going to start with the top 100. So a lot of times when you're watching these videos, I play a few top 100 opponents every weekend. And you guys don't even know they're the top 100. Sometimes I see it in the comments. I didn't know myself. And it makes me sit there and wonder, like, if I beat you 5-0, if I beat you 4-0, if I'm killing it, I'm coasting, how is this guy in the top 100? I know that I'm a top 100 player, I understand. But at the same time, it makes me wonder, who is he playing? What type of opponents are you playing? Because I had a good month, and I was still losing, 4 or 5 games. And it was a solid month, and I'm 4 or 5 games every weekend. And I definitely struggle more against the hoe bags. And I haven't had a very good run on penalties recently, but I do have a lot of issues when I'm going up against guys that more so abuse the game. And I think that the Americas division is the worst for this. So I think Europe has the best quality players. Not on an individual level, I'm saying as a whole. Like, if you took the masses, the European region, it's going to have better players. Then it's the Americas region, but the Americas region has more of the people that play the game weird. Custom formations, hold the ball, shield, 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 shield. Just strange ways to play FIFA. And you guys know that I'm telling the truth. I've opened this up with so many subscribers. I've talked about it on live streams. I don't know why this happens in the Americas division, why everybody chooses to kind of abuse. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but why so many people choose to abuse the game versus playing the game. And I'm talking true abusal. Like, you couldn't do this in a tournament. Who plays with 8 guys, 9 guys back? Anything to win, but not in a nice way. I mean, it's straight disrespect to, like, FIFA, the title itself. And even some of the top American players, a few of them I've played, bros. If you have seen these games, if you would have watched some of them, and some of it was earlier on in the year, but these guys are not good players. But they're nasty, man. Like, the way they play is disgusting. Really and truly. Like, when you have an expectation when you play some guys that are in the top 10 or the top 100 or top 50, you want to see them moving the ball around quick. You want to see some nice goals, some nice build-up, consistent defending. You don't want to see somebody just hold the shield button every time they have the ball. And they're hoping for one goal. Like, I just played a match in the weekend league for this upcoming weekend, and I'll try to get that video out much earlier. Being out of town just really put me behind in terms of content production, but I played a guy in the weekend league, and I knew this guy was a top player, but his style was awful. I think I had 3 shots, 3 on frame. He had 1 shot, 1 on frame, and I won 2-0, and they were kind of lucky goals anyway. But literally all he did is hold the ball. He didn't have good build-up. It was very predictable build-up. His defense wasn't great either. He was just very wide and held the ball and just gradually inched forward. And you could say if he did anything well, it was his patience. His patience was good, but it's such a bad play style. I guess that's subjective, right? Maybe I'm complaining. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Because I understand people are going to play differently. I'm not asking you, hey, you got to play this way. This way benefits Mike. No. Please, play all sorts of different ways. But it's weird to me when I see people, like, comfortable with a draw, or comfortable only losing by 1 goal, or comfortable not controlling anybody on the defensive end. And part of this is still EA's fault. It's a flaw in their system where they allowed the AI to block so many shots, the AI to position for themselves, custom tactics combined with custom formations, and you're sitting there as a consumer. What am I playing against? What is no longer FIFA? Doesn't feel like a FIFA match. It doesn't feel like I have any resemblance to a football match that I watch on the weekend. I just talking. I'm just wondering. Now, what y'all been waiting for. I think you've been waiting for. Let's talk about games that I avoid and why. Alright, so when I'm going into a match, this is what I see and I don't want to play. Number one, if the latency is bad. And sometimes people don't understand because when they join the match, it then shows green for them. But when I was already sitting in the match and you joined in, it showed orange latency for me or red latency and then went to green. I'm not playing that game. That seems like a bad move for me. I'm not trying to get disconnects. I'm not trying to get additional lag. I'm not trying to get any additional delay. I don't want us to have issues. If our internet service providers don't match up well, that's fine. I'll just wait. Okay? 2, I don't like to play people that I think are from Mexico, and not because of anything to do with Mexicans playing FIFA. Not at all. A lot of them are very skilled. But I just don't connect well with them. And I live in Houston. I know we're close, but for whatever reason, I just don't connect well. It's not a clean connection. Often I have lags, Often I lag, and I also get quite a few disconnects versus people from Mexico. It's just from my experience. I will play some from South America. Sometimes I gamble doing so, but I'll still take those on every weekend. And I'm sure I play a few Mexicans every weekend too. But the way that I'll back out is if I were to see a Mexican flag, I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you for the notification. If I saw a name that might be in Spanish, I might be, hold on. I might thank you for the notification. I might get out of this. And that's just seems to be problems that I find. Maybe it could be my end. I don't know. Maybe it has nothing to do with their connection. But for whatever reason, Comcast doesn't like many people, and they really don't like you guys in terms of connection. I also will avoid those strange names. And when I say strange names, let me go into a little more depth, a little more information. And I just don't know what to expect. I feel like these guys are either going to be awful or they're going to be weird, or I don't know. When I play against somebody that says, come in me, like that's the name of your club, I'm like, I don't really like the name of your club. That's weird. Or Fist My Asamoah, team I played, or what is it, Class on Grass. These just don't tend to be good matches for me. These tend to be people that play with the Stoke stadium and do a lot of strange activity. They hold the ball, or they do this, or they do that. I don't know if they're little kids. I usually avoid Harambe FCs. It just seems like this crew, this little grouping of players. If there's any other names I've left out, please get in the comments down below. I think another one that I see is She Was Only 11. Is that right? Or something like that. Or Adam Johnson. I've seen all sorts of really strange club names, but not a good strange, not a unique strange, not a creative strange or out of the ordinary. It's just, ugh. It makes you cringe. If I cringe from your club name, I don't want to play. Now, outside of that, pretty much open book. I will play somebody that's a 2016 all the way down to 2010, 2009. I don't play a lot of FUT founders, but I have a theory on that. It's not that I'm trying to avoid them. I just feel like they have to sit through so many matches to try to get games. By the time you finally play a FUT founder, they're already angry. And they're already ready to do some crappy stuff against you. At one point, they were nice guys and they loved playing FUT. But because EA has given away their information and they are punishing someone for being a loyal customer, I feel like these guys have to search sometimes for 15 to 20 minutes to get a game in FUT Champions. And therefore, when they finally get into a match, they are pissed and they're like, screw it! You guys didn't want to play me? I'm giving you all the crap I got. I just hit something here. I'm giving you the most fugazi. I can't believe I used the word fugazi. No, I'm giving you the most suspect gameplay that we can get. I'm holding the ball against you. I'm 5 at the back. So I've played quite a few FUT founders in FUT Champs, and I couldn't believe what I was going against. You would expect them to really love FUT. But I'm like, damn, this dude's in a custom formation. Damn, this guy is 5 at the back. I just didn't expect it. And I wonder if they have resentment for how much time they have to sit there and search for matches. And I'm sorry. I apologize to you guys. EA should never have shown this type of information. I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they were in a discussion. They're in a conference call and they're like, hey guys, so before people get into a match, we should probably give them some information so they know how to back out, how to avoid each other, how so pros can't play pros. You know, we don't want that. Competitive game mode, we do not want professional players to play against professional players. No. 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 Give them a chance to back out. Okay, so what do we need to give them? Okay, when was the account created? So that means any of our loyal customers, oh yeah, those guys, they're screwed. They're going to have to put a lot more time in this weekend because people aren't going to want to play those old accounts. Screwed. Yep. Get them. Get them. We only want new people anyways. Get them. Like what is the reasoning? And then when they show your club name, they give information about your club. And you can only change your club name, what, once a year? So it's not like you're going to be able to slide that under the radar over and over again, and after you've put up some good numbers, people aren't trying to play you. They don't want to take instant losses or games where they think they're going to lose, because you're not competing against each other. You're competing against putting up the best record. And that's also EA's fault. I don't mind FUT Champions. I enjoy it a lot, actually. It's fun. I look forward to it on the weekend. It's stressful as hell. But I don't know why they give you this info. It should be a set stadium. And I've talked about this. Set stadiums. All right, these are the 3 that you can choose. Enjoy. They should have no custom formations, because you can't use them in tournaments. So why would you be able to use them in a competitive game mode? That's the key to this. I don't care. Division 1, use it. The draft, I guess you couldn't change formations there. But exactly, in the draft, they can shut down your formation change in the draft. Surely you can do it in FUT Champions and make it where custom formations are just not available. It's very easy. It's very, very easy. They should also make it where you can't play weather conditions, because in a tournament, of course you're not going to play weather conditions. It's always going to be sunshine and nice outside. And that's how it should be. Why would you get screwed over because you're having to play a game in rain, or I don't really see snow this year. I don't know if they eliminated that. Remember they had fog? Who came up with fog? Whoever came up with fog should be fired at EA. Almost made a whole video dedicated to how stupid that was. Well, if you guys can't see, or you're having trouble looking at the screen, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult. Yep. Aha. Gotcha. Gotcha. Stupid. Real stupid. EA does certain things that just make me always think to myself, like, did you consult anyone that knows FIFA? Did you consult anyone that cares about the title? And the only reason that we complain, remember, is because we enjoy playing the game. Because we truly care about the progression of your series, the progression of this sports genre, and what's happening with FIFA. We are football fans. And that's where it comes from. And people need to always understand that. People that get mad when Arsenal lose, a lot of their supporters, it's not because they don't love Arsenal. They absolutely love them. They just are frustrated with the results or frustrated with the decisions. EA's got to understand that. We want to see the best title possible. And when I look at pro game modes or anything competitive, you just want to make it where it's really fair. It's truly anonymous. Not where it becomes the best cherry picker or the best avoider. But remember, I want to see what you think in the comments. But for the most part, that's all it comes down to for me. I play both home and away games. But if I'm in a bad run of form or I haven't really felt comfortable, I'll probably only play home games. Just because I wouldn't be ready to take on that adjusted camera view. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you play an away game, your camera view, even though you've gone in and you've customed it up or whatever you're doing, even if you're playing the default camera view, it shifts a little bit based on the stadium. So you've got to be ready for that shift, and usually you want to be in solid form, so if it zooms out a little bit or gets a little bit closer, it doesn't affect you that much. You're like, all right, cool, I'm feeling confident. My game is moving and grooving regardless of this camera view. I don't care what he does. I'm feeling very comfortable right about now. I'm on the couch. I'm relaxing, maxing, and relaxing. But you guys get the idea. And the last little point that I want to talk about, how do you deal with formations that you struggle against? Because I've seen videos, I've seen people talk about this, and it's a decent tactic where, let's say, so for example, I play a 4-1-2-1-2 most of the time. And if I go up against somebody who's in a 4-3-3-4, very common matchup, that doesn't favor me because now he's got a lot of space on the wings. So if I'm struggling versus that 4-3-3-4, something that works well for me is to also switch to a 4-3-3-4. And basically you guys cancel each other out, and then it's going to be may the best 4-3-3-4 win. And I've seen, I think Boris might have talked about this, and Rosemeyer, because I did a couple interviews with them on my channel where we discussed tactics, ideas, concepts, kind of all of the above. If you haven't checked those out, it's a long watch, but if you like this, you definitely like that. And we were sitting there and kind of going back and forth on what's the best way to play against, of course, the park the bus, the custom formation, or just a matchup that's not favorable for you, because that's what's going to happen. It's part of the game. Whether you love it, you hate it, or you fall somewhere in between, no matter what formation you use, you don't get a favorable matchup at all times. And that's why I talked about you need to have mastery. If you want to be a really great player, mastery of 2 formations, at least 1 narrow and 1 wide, because there's a time for both. And I've also discussed that's why I use the 4-1-2-1-2, and then I'll often switch into the 4-2-3-1 to kind of close out a match. So basically, I'm trading a striker for a CDM. And I'm not hoeing it out, I'm not holding the ball, I'm not walking down the lines, but I do want to have that additional control, and I do want to put another body in there to help me break up plays, because for the most part, your opponent, especially if he's good, he's going to bring more attackers. So if you don't bring another defender, well, I guess you don't have to, then hopefully you score more, because it's good to have something to kind of change up the pace just a little bit. Man, some of the goals I'm looking at that I'm conceding are just terrible. It's just bad defending, but you can tell, and I think you guys could tell at home, I can't move. And I'm not saying my opponent can't either. I think we're all screwed on connection. When people were playing me, I feel like it was literally just whoever gets the lucky bounce, whoever gets the fortunate turn. Welcome to EA AIDS at its finest, because when I'm sitting there playing, I'm just begging like for a little bit of luck. I'm like, please, EA gods, you know, I know I haven't asked for too many Christmas presents. Sometimes I ask for some pack luck. But overall, I think I've been, you know, a good player. I've been very committed. Can you give me some bounces now? Because that's what it comes down to. I mean, I can't walk the line right. The shielding is all messed up. Forget about first-time passing. You name it. And I'm not somebody that just lobs the ball deep or something like that. And I'm not sure that it would be effective in the way that you would hope that it would. But I know if a connection is poor, going for direct play is also or always a better option than trying to have your skill moves, your intricacies, all the little minute details that make you who you are. The small, beautiful things. The beautiful game. Oh, wait, what year was that where they talked about the beautiful game? Was that last year? Where that was their slogan and EA literally made changes to all defensive concepts. It was awful. It was like double slide tackles everywhere. FIFA 16 was a very poor title. I couldn't believe I finished up so bad here. So I actually end up, I know we're not quite done, but I think it's time that we can talk about it. I finish up 31-9, and I think the last 17 games I go 11-6. That's just awful. I usually close out really well. It's just, I'm like, please, let something good happen from this. Total goals scored wasn't bad, 105. That's 2.6 goals per game. You're going to win a lot of matches if your defense is solid, and that's where I really struggled, actually. Total conceded, the worst weekend I've ever had. This is actually the worst weekend I think I've ever had in FUT Champs in terms of when I finished all the games, where I had 39 goals conceded. So basically a goal a game, which none of my records include that, whether you're in divisions, whether you're in FUT Champs. That's bad. That's bad for me. I had 10 rage quits, and I had 8 corner kicks that were scored. I think that's around my average for rage quits. I would say I average anywhere between 10 to 12. You know, sometimes I'll have 6, sometimes I'll have 15. But I would say about 10 to 12 is around my normal area. Corners, last weekend, I think I scored 18. So 8 is on the down. And I think that plays a big part in the connection at the end because I like to use the L2R2 or the LTRT and kind of go back and forth. You guys see me jigging. A lot of people ask about it. And I've made a tutorial on this. But that doesn't work when the connection is awful. You need it to be like, You're trying to kind of skate and make a judgment call where if you can bait your opponent into reaching left or reaching right, and then you kind of go around either to the middle or down the sideline, and then you're looking for your pass across. And I still found that to be, or I find that to be one of the most effective ways to score corner kicks, especially if you're good at it. If you have a solid psyche, I think is the word people like to use. If you got the psyche where your mind game is better than your opponent's mind game, then you're going to win a lot of those kind of 50-50 battles or whatever you want to classify it as. But you can tell these last few games, man, I'm looking at it. Ugh. It's just nasty. You can see like the delay and the lag. And I'll tell you what, the Elgato smoothens out a lot of lag. So if you ever see lag in one of my videos, that means the lag was bad, really bad. Because after it renders, I'll give props where props are due. Elgato does a good job bringing it all together where it looks nice and clean. The only negative with Elgato is their damn software gets corrupt footage on a regular basis. You hear me talk about it here. Other YouTubers, streamers, everybody. It's something with their software. It has nothing to do with their product, but their software has always had issues because after you record, it then renders, and then from that rendering process, you have it in whatever folder you wanted to send it to, and if it's no good, it's no good. Or if you got problems or something doesn't go right, well, there you have it. But yeah, so we finish up 31-9, worst weekend. But it still landed us in the top 100, which kind of tells you how I did earlier in the month. Like I said, for this following month, I guess the first regional, I'll have that out earlier. Hopefully I play well. I just got started by the time I made this video. I haven't lost yet, but I haven't played a lot of games either. So I'm not going to sit here in front like that's like a massive achievement. But wish me luck, guys. If you enjoyed everything, please drop a thumbs up. If you're brand new, I'm happy to have you. I embrace you. Welcome to the channel. Make sure to show your friends. But until next time, peace.